Hello, hello. Thank you for checking in. Great to see you. Hello. It's Thursday, Stupid Question Day, a regular feature of Live with Lorielle New, where I put on the genius cap right here, which allows me to answer any question about any topic in the entire universe with complete accuracy. Go! Guaranteed. So hello. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's another bright, sunny, beautiful day in California. And David Jones said, "Where are my cupcakes?" That's what I was thinking all day too. Wow, we're having a mind meld. Where are my cupcakes? So hello. How are you? See, I feel like I'm like looking. That's not straight. That's better. I don't like it up. All of the above, David Jones. So hello, how's everybody doing? Yeah, sorry I wasn't here yesterday, but hello. Linda says she won 1/4 of a game of bingo. I'm not sure how that works. And when you're paying for pennies, when you're playing for pennies, Allura, and you win 1/4 of a game, what do you get? Do you get half a penny? How do you work that out? What were your winnings? Hi, Sturgis Guy. Oh, I forgot to say hello to everybody. Let me say hello to everybody. Hi, Sturgis, Allura Star, and Shocker, and Sturgis Guy, and Tesis, and House of Dave, and Sam, and St. Clinton, and Eric, and PD, and Tim, and Ryan, and Photo, and Philip, and Mark Mean, and Star Raven, and Angie Tomlinson, and Fairies Lover, and Lucky Girl, and Azure Yusuf, and the Cram, and Marcel, and Jim Dandy, and Sturgis Guy, and Bill Knaus, and Scott Kimmis, and Azure Yusuf, and the Cram, and Marcel, and Blair Cooper, and Terry Sue, and Brett, and John McCain, and Red Stapler, and Joe Barney, and N1QOB, and Jay Dahlman, and Cosmic Joe, and Sam, and St. Clinton, and am I forgetting any? Wing Doggy. Am I forgetting anybody? I may have said things twice. I always end up saying a couple things twice because so there. Hello! So I hope you have some questions for the genius. I read and I tweeted a TED. I tweeted a TED talk yesterday and an article about reality and the universe, which is like blowing my mind. It's like the movie The Matrix. You know, we're in the Matrix, all about reality and quantum physics and the allegory of the cave. And are we really seeing what we're seeing? As far as, because think about it. Your eyes see something and it reflects an image and then your brain translates it. And how does that all work? And what is the brain and what is thought and what is consciousness? And are we really seeing what we think we're seeing? Because you know, your brain, yeah. And what is there that we can't see? And it's really crazy, you know, thinking about evolution. Well, no, not the afterlife even, just in reality. They use two examples of literal reality and what we actually see and know and understand. Like, for instance, there's a beetle in Australia, and the male beetle mates with the female beetle, and she has a like brown, shiny, bumpy body. And suddenly they were having problems with these beetles because they were beer bottles out in the desert, and all of these beetles were attracted to these beer bottles because they're round, shiny, bumpy body. And even though they weren't on, even though it was a beer bottle and not a female beetle, they were attracted to it, and they couldn't tell the difference. They could only see, what they saw was brown, shiny, bumpy body equals female. that's what's translated in their brain. We can look at it and see, oh, beetle, bottle, that's not the same, but they couldn't see it. So the question is, in what ways are we like that beetle, where things we think we're seeing, we're not really seeing? Sturgis Guy says he's also attracted to beer bottles. See, we thought Sturgis Guy was a guy, but actually Sturgis Guy is a beetle. He's an Australian beetle. See, and nobody noticed that. And the lesser-known Australian beetles, Laura, as opposed to the English beetles. Sam says more mumbo-jumbo. Another way to think of it is if you look on your desktop and you see all the little icons that are in your computer, your desktop is like what you see. So imagine like the desktop is what you see in the world. Now when you look at a little square on it that says for a file, in your computer, that file is not really like a little blue square or whatever the picture is. It's actually like a bunch of, if you saw it in reality, it's a bunch of numbers and codes and all these things. But we don't see that because we don't need to see that. We see the little picture. But that's not really what it is, but we can't see that. Yeah, so anyhow, it was crazy because it starts you thinking about just what are we really seeing. So I don't know, it's a whole thing about like so, but anyhow, so that made me think a lot of weird stuff, and which would explain why the things we can't see, say for instance there's a third dimension, we cannot see that reality. Marcel says, was this before or after you took your meds? No, anyhow, you can watch the TED Talk. I think I tweeted it yesterday. So, so that the guy who gives the TED Talk is an expert on this, so he'll give a better explanation. Even though I'm a genius today, he'll give you a better explanation. But that's my genius topic for today: reality. What is reality? And how do you explain consciousness? Your brain is just a bunch of gray mush. I mean, but how is it that it's thinking all these things? What is consciousness? Linda says, I have another question. What is in the box? Box? Oh, Allura says the answer is none of your business. Sturgis Guy says, in 10 years, computers will become sentient, and they will tell us what reality is. Except, Sturgis Guy, we're the ones programming the computers. So we're only programming them to understand and see what we see, right? The one behind me? Oh no, that's not a box. That's actually a brown bag. And I think there's some cosmetics in it. I haven't gotten to sending my thank you notes yet, so all that stuff is still sitting there reminding me, must send thank you notes before you can put them away. Yes, David Jones says perception is not necessarily reality. That is true. Oh my God, and not to be too gossipy, but you guys heard the news story, well, some of you, Marcel may not have heard this, about a woman in Texas who had gone in early to her church to prepare some sort of early meeting she had and was killed in her church. And then they put out surveillance. The church had surveillance cameras, so they put out the videos, and everybody was watching. Somebody broke into the church about 15 minutes before she got there, and they were dressed in a fully covered, like in a police riot gear, where they had like a police helmet on, and jacket and pants and stuff. So you couldn't see the identity of the person. Couldn't even tell if it's a man or woman, or anything. There's no part of their skin or anything showing. But they had a lot of surveillance video, and the police were paying attention. Like, look at the video, watch how look at that person's body shape, watch how they're walking, and so I don't know about you, but I watched that video a whole bunch of times. There's a whole, and the person in the video that you could see looked kind of like stocky and portly, walked kind of like a slow shuffling kind of like foot turned out kind of way. And David Jones says in Texas they all walk like that. Yeah, well then yesterday I'm watching a video. They had like a press conference, and you see the husband of the woman who was killed and the husband's father. So the husband and the father-in-law walk out, and we watch him walk towards the cameras as they're out of the police door, and the father is walking exactly like the bad guy in the videos. And this whole press conference, okay, first of all, you would think they'd be like kind of like some grief. The father-in-law is like smirking, like grinning. He's got a grin on his face the whole time, and is like, you got to watch this press conference and watch this guy. Everybody who watched it I looked at all the comments below, and everybody thought the same thing as me, going, oh my God, that guy walks exactly like the killer. I am positive that the father-in-law killed the woman. The husband was supposed to be out of town. So I think the husband went out of town for an alibi. He's out of town. It couldn't have been him. The father-in-law killed him. That's going to come out. This is my prediction. No, David Jones, I don't know if you've seen it, but the son didn't walk like that. Like, the son didn't look like he was walking like it. And this guy had the same body, the same walking kind of, and then watching him talk, he was talking about, he said they were supposed to be there because the police wanted to know about a shirt that had blood on it, and he was saying, oh, we were at the house and the dog attacked our little chihuahua that was 13 years old, and it got the dog's blood on it, and that's why I took it to the dry cleaner. But even then, it sounded so suspicious, because if your dog kills, if one of your dogs kills your other dog, you wouldn't be like smiling about it. So he was like, so yeah, so the dog is 13 years old, okay, and the other dog bit it, okay, and so I picked it up, you know, and I got blood on me, okay, and so that's why I took the shirt to the dry cleaners, okay. So that's how he was talking, and they were just like smiling and looking at each other and smiling and looking at each other, and at no point did either of them seem at all like they had grief or were upset about this woman who was killed a week ago. And he was talking, and it wasn't talking like he was sharing a memory. He's like, every sentence was like, okay, 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 and the two of them kept looking back and forth at each other, and they weren't making very good eye contact and smiling the whole time. Marcel says, Marcel says, I'm not saying anything, but people can laugh in bad situations. Well, it looked very fishy, Marcel, and I'm not the only one who thought that, because everybody watching the comments was like, oh my God, the same thing. Everyone watching it was like, oh, and I'm sure the police were looking at that, and they're gonna, we'll see what happens. I'm just I don't want to jump to conclusions, even though I'm a genius, Marcel. But I would, if I were the police, I would be investigating those alibis very closely. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what the investigation is for. But that's... I could be wrong, but that if I was the detective on this, that would be what I would be looking at. And then also it shows the on the surveillance videos, the robber is just kind of randomly like walking around breaking things. It wasn't like if you break into a church and you're trying to rob stuff. It's just kind of randomly walking around. I think the whole thing was a setup to look like a robbery. It was set up to look like somebody was robbing the church and she just happened to be there. But it was, I think it was planned. Because it wasn't like if somebody's going in just to do. So yeah, so just anyhow, we'll see what as the story develops. But that is just my. I watched that and I went, oh my God. You have to watch the video, and watch the surveillance, and watch their press conference, and see if you think the same thing. Sam says, were the Beatles in the movie The Wild One with Brando? I don't know. So anyhow, oh, so as I'm going on and on and on, does anyone have any questions for the genius? I'm drinking coffee again, by the way. Oh, Marcel says, why are you going on and on and on? Because I can't help it. But anyhow. Yes, I'm drinking coffee today. I stopped drinking coffee for like 2 months. But I found out that I'm tired all the time. So I'm drinking coffee again, trying to... so I'm trying to drink. I'm not addicted anymore. But yeah. Hi, Wing Doggy. Yeah. So anyhow, so enough about crimes. So who has a question for the genius? It's Stupid Question Day, a regular feature of Live with Lorielle New, where I put on the genius cap right here. This gives me the power of geniosity, allowing me to answer any question about any topic in the entire universe, guaranteed. And this is Sturgis Guy says, I'm drinking cheap Canadian whiskey. This Buffalo Ridge whiskey is nasty. Oh wait, there's only one good brand of whiskey. David Jones says, why? Wing Doggy says, your picture is clear and crisp today, more than usual. Why? Well, oh, I did their whole reset thing. Maybe that helped, Wing Doggy. I was telling you before I was having trouble. I did the whole reset and the IP reset thing. David Jones says, what is better, a clock that runs slow or one which is stopped? The one that's stopped, David Jones, because it'll be right twice a day. The other one's going to be wrong all day long. Genius! Sam says, that, oh. Oh, and Sam says, oh, the little known trivia fact about the Beatles. Sam says, originally the Beatles had spelled their name Beetles, but found out that there was a motorcycle gang in England with the same name, so they changed their name to Beatles. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know about the name change or the motorcycle gang. When Doggy says it's very crispy, can almost come. Wow. Twice a day, Marcel. Marcel says the slow one, but yeah. I was right about the clock. So, yes, guaranteed accuracy. A genius is in the house. Wing Doggy says, my screen is so clear right now that he can see that the plant behind me, all the way back on the kitchen table, needs watering. Oh, Sam says, okay, well, you wrote that funny. Sam says, no, you wrote it funny, Sam. Sam says, no, what he was saying was the Beatles were the name of the motorcycle gang in the movie The Wild Ones with Brando. So, okay, so you're saying that John Lennon saw that? Is that what you're saying, Sam? John Lennon saw that and then changed the name of the Beatles? Oh, David Jones, I can't, I'll talk about that later. I didn't do anything, but there was a miscommunication and a jumping to a conclusion, which resulted in something very unfair. Marcel has a word joke, word play. Can we spell creativity however we want? Ah! Yes, no, yes, no. So Sam, you're saying that John Lennon, they started the band and it was called the Beatles, B-E-E-T, and then he went to the movies and he saw Marlon Brando in the movie The Wild One, and in the movie Marlon Brando was in a gang called the Beatles. So then because of that, John Lennon changed the E to an A in the name of the band when they were starting out, so they were the Beatles instead of like the bug, like a beat in a musical beat. Is that what you're saying, Sam? Just to clarify? Sam says, no, they got the name from the movie. Okay, so they watched the movie and then decided to call themselves the Beatles, but changed the letter. Is that what you're saying, Sam? Sam says, yes, that is what happened because originally they were called the Quarrymen. And then after they saw Marlon Brando's movie, they changed to the Beatles. Marcel says, if you don't pay your exorcist, do you get repossessed? So, all right. Well, I'm not sure how much genius I had today. I don't know if I had my full power genius going on. So, well, I want to know, why didn't the Beatles just call themselves, if they were so inspired by the Wild One and Marlon Brando, why didn't they call themselves the Wild Ones? Or maybe just better yet, the Marlon Brandos. Why the Beatles? Hey, we're the Marlon Brandos! All right, so I am, that would have been funny, huh? And so I am just about to sign off because it's 5:50. But I want to thank you guys for coming to see me because you're awesome. I will be back tomorrow on Friday for Funny Friday, regular feature of Live with Lorielle New, where we share jokes to put everyone in a good mood for the weekend. So I hope you have some jokes to share. So let me say goodbye to everybody. Allure Star and Shocker and Sturgis Guy and T-Sis and House of Dave and Sam and St. Clinton and Eric and Petey and Tim and Ryan and Photo and Philip Chandler and Mark Mean and Star Raven and Angie Tomlinson and Fairies Lover and Lucky Girl and Azra Yusuf and the Cram and Marcel and Jim Dandy and Sturgis Guy and Bill Knaus and Scott Kimmis and Wing Doggy and Joe Barney and Red Stapler and John McCain and Blair Cooper and Brett and Terry Sue and N1QOV and Wing Doggy and Jay Dahlman and Cosmic Joe. Thank you for checking in. You guys are awesome. Now hitting the name standing on one foot. I can barely do anything standing on one foot right now, Marcel. This broken foot, I'm like a car out of alignment because I wear this heavy, stupid boot where I'm my one leg's higher than the other now and heavier, and I'm walking funny, and my whole body's, my hips hurt, my knees hurt, my ankles hurt, my other foot hurts. My whole body is out of alignment like your car. When one goes out, it sends everything else out of whack too. So I'm like, everything hurts now. My back, my neck. How much longer with the boot? I think another few weeks. So, all right. Bye. I love you. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye!